chose to work at the partnership because after working directly with survivors in a local program, I realized that the biggest irony of my work was that my own family would never avail themselves of the services the organization provided. As a child survivor of domestic violence, I was keenly aware of the barriers my immigrant family faced. And I felt that my purpose was to go farther upstream to eliminate those barriers so my entire family could heal, including those who had caused us harm, but who would never reach out because of the fear of being separated. My intention was to bring those experiences into the partnership to seek the change that my own family needed. What kept me at the partnership for a decade was the love and care of so many who work in this field. My colleagues with whom I worked side by side and shared all the carbs, all the caffeine, all the sugar, all the drinks, all the blood, sweat, and tears, those late nights and those stupid early mornings to provide our members and larger community with a little information, some wins and some losses, and a little fun to support advocates in doing their best work. Sometimes we got it right, other times we got it wrong. Every time we brought our best thinking and most importantly, our love for advocates, survivors, and their families. I always say that survivors are superheroes, but advocates are the warriors who do the impossible so survivors may continue to soar.
I wish I could say that there was something special about the partnership that drew me here, but truthfully, at the time, I was just ready for a new challenge. I just got lucky to have landed at the partnership. At that point in time, my criteria for a new organization was that it had to be serving people, it had to be nonprofit and mission-driven, and my values had to align. I had no experience with domestic violence, but the job description was a fit for me. It was a job that looked like a little bit of a stretch, more than I knew I could do, but not so much more that I couldn't learn. I remember my first interview. I wore a suit that was just a bit too small, and I was so nervous. It was the first job interview I'd been on in 8 years. Kathy didn't hire me then. I chalked it up as good a practice and moved on. Luckily, 6 months later, she called to say that the position was open again, but this time with a little more responsibility. Would I want to be considered? I said yes. Within days of being at the partnership, I recognized that I was with a special group of amazing people, and it was the people that have kept me at the partnership for the last 5.5 years.
What I learned during my time at the partnership, right now I'm thinking about the danger of a single story. I've witnessed how the field is embodying what it means to work with whole families, with seeing the humanity of those who cause harm while ensuring the survivor is in control of what accountability looks like and feels like. However, I've personally experienced a struggle to extend that humanity beyond survivors. In this age of single-story headlines, I'm learning that there are layers and complexities and intricacies that are lost in the headlines and stories we see and hear every day. My lesson has been to slow down, ask a lot of questions, and sit in the complexity that is storytelling. For this requires a lot more time and energy than simply reading or reacting to a headline. The partnership has taught me that the long-form, convoluted stories we often do not have time for are exactly the stories we need to hear. I'm taking with me the desire to understand those complexities, those multiple truths, those contradictions, those plot twists, the pain, the joy, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I look forward to exploring those stories in this next phase of my work.
I've learned so much, but maybe the most important lessons are, 1, that I'm fully capable of so much more than I thought when I took this job. The scope of the work scared me a little from the outset, but Kathy's trust in me from my first day, and later Paul and Elise's trust in me, have helped me have the confidence I need to do the job well, and really I think to do any job well in my future. I also learned that when values align, the work becomes easy. With alignment, I was able to follow my instincts while doing my job and never felt resistance or like I was swimming against the current. And lastly, I learned that sometimes people just need to be heard. This was my first time in human resources as a human resources position, and having ongoing contact with survivors, especially survivors of major trauma. And sometimes I have the tendency to want to help people and help solve their problems, even when they don't ask. So I learned in doing this HR work and in talking to survivors that sometimes all people want is to be heard.
I will leave the legacy question for history to decide. That's a lot of pressure. In the meantime, I will leave you with this Hamilton lyric. Yes, a Hamilton lyric. We have no control who lives, who dies, and who tells our story. My prayer for us all is whatever seeds we plant, whether they live or die, may we be the authors of our own convoluted, contradictory, and beautiful stories.
I like to think I'm leaving a legacy of incorporating equity, partnership, beloved community, cultural responsiveness, and bravery into all things admin at the partnership. But this is where my pragmatism comes out. The truth is, I have no control over how work is carried out or how the seeds I've sown are watered or nurtured. So I prefer to tend to the things I can control, which is the legacy that my time with the partnership leaves with me. I'm confident and committed to carrying on the lessons that each of my coworkers have impressed upon me. To center equity, to do what I say I will do, to never lose sight of who people are in their fullest sense, and that it's okay to leave with compassion and to hold people accountable at the same time. I've learned so many lessons from the people that I work with on a daily basis, from our members, from the field, from our partners, and I take all of them with me into all of my endeavors in my personal and professional future. These are really, truly gifts to me, and I can't say thank you enough for what you've left me.